So despite starting the fire back in Texas all those months ago, it feels so long ago because the Republican chances of holding on to the House have absolutely declined. Down we go into the water.
We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world been turning. Oh, that's not right. MAGA started the fire. It was always burning since this week's been turning. Shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. And don't forget to like the video. I'm Reese Waters, and this is Street Politics. Donnie, they got you looking crazy out here. Is he awake? Hey, wake him up, would you? Does he know he in public? Why he out here looking like my grandfather after Thanksgiving dinner? And also me after Thanksgiving dinner. If this picture is real, I am speechless. Oh, it's real, all right. It's real. And it's spectacular.
We continue our work on negotiating international trade agreements. 59 days after we stood in this office and President Trump, standing with Albert Bourla from Pfizer, announced the first of the 17 MFN deals, together with our colleagues from the Department of Commerce under Secretary Lutnick's leadership and from the U.S. Trade Representative's office under the leadership of Ambassador Greer, we negotiated a landmark agreement with the government of the United Kingdom in which they agreed to increase significantly the amount that they spend on branded pharmaceuticals for the first time in 26 years. That work continues with other countries. And third, we will continue our work with our partners in Congress to codify the principles that underpin these most favored nation deals so that these savings for American families and this innovation that is unleashed at the same time persists for decades to come.
Is it over? Is it over? Hey, Trump, best I can say in your defense, that put me down too, dog. That put me down too. That's tough. I'm not president, though. That's the only difference. I'm not president. Yeah, everybody saw that. Everybody saw that. And to the rest of the world that, in fact, saw that, we're at the point in America where the mismanagement of this administration is such that he's asleep at the wheel is the best possible explanation. I've done some bad jobs in my life. I've done some horrible jobs. I never had to go to I fell asleep, and that's why it looks the way that it does. It's never been quite that bad. It's never been quite that bad. I know.
It's sad, isn't it?
And to my point, things only get worse when you awake.
Where am I?
Trump says Iran won't execute 8 women after he demanded their release. Hooray, Trump saved 8 AI-generated people. The AI fathers are going to be grateful. The AI families are grateful for their safe return. That wasn't as bad as that time you posted the AI video that you thought was yourself speaking, though, if we're being honest. But again, that's what happens when you awake. That's all stuff that happens when you awake. Man, they trolling the hell out you. They giving you the treatment that the media should. This photo should be on the front page of every single newspaper in America today. Trump fell asleep during a live televised meeting. If Joe Biden had done that, the media would be treating it like a national emergency and run wall-to-wall panic coverage for a week. When Trump does it, they look the other way because the clown show keeps their ratings up and their pockets full. The hypocrisy is disgraceful. The media failed this country, and they know it. They most certainly did. They would probably report on Biden going to sleep for the night wherever he is before Trump falling asleep in a meeting in front of the world to see. And who got the last laugh? Who's sleepy now? And the other thing is Biden could stand up and write that. If it was Trump, he'd have to sit down in a chair and do that. Oh, no, it's way more than that. I ain't been that tired since every day going to work in my 20s. What was you up last night doing, Trump?
Breaking news as last night, Trump had a dinner with only the conservative justices on the Supreme Court. The liberal justices were not invited. They had this dinner, and then today the Supreme Court came back and struck down a central provision of the Voting Rights Act that struck down a map in Louisiana that allowed more representation for black voters, calling it racial gerrymandering. So that has struck down and opened the doors for lots of other districts throughout the country to be redrawn. Guys, this is terrible, terrible news. I don't see how you can't find corruption within all of this when the justices had a private dinner with Trump and then came back the next day with this decision.
No, not this Supreme Court. After he dragged them in public like that. After he just openly dragged them in public. And you know that dinner wasn't no good. It was probably McDonald's. Y'all know how Trump do. Hey, Clarence Thomas, they fed you McDonald's off the floor? They fed you the McDonald's off the floor after the hockey players left. I can see the grimace on your face. And yet still, Supreme Court weakens the Voting Rights Act and aids GOP efforts to control the House. The Supreme Court on Wednesday hollowed out a landmark civil rights era law that has increased minority representation in Congress and elsewhere, striking down a majority black congressional district in Louisiana and opening the door for more redistricting across the country that could aid Republican efforts to control the House. Now, wait a minute. Alito, after he just openly said you should retire, you gonna go in and carry his lunch like that? That's what we doing? That's really what we doing. Had y'all at dinner like some Instagram baddies, sitting there taking photos for the gram in order to show up to work the next day and carry his lunch. That's what it's come to? A King Charles dinner?
Okay, so this is a pretty important video. Please watch till the end. The Supreme Court today did something that they have been dying to do for decades, and it's devastating, particularly if you are a black or brown American. They gutted the Voting Rights Act. 6-3, straight down ideological lines. Before I explain what it means, I need you to hear one thing clearly. The Voting Rights Act ended Jim Crow at the ballot box. It protected the premise of fair and equal elections. That is what the conservative majority on this Supreme Court just came for. This is a truly dark day in our democracy. Now, conservatives, of course, will dress this up in legal language. They'll call it equal protection or say they're being colorblind. Don't get pulled into the semantics debate trap. Here's what's actually happening. The GOP and the conservative majority on this court are attacking black political power as a front to seize illegitimate control over all of us. When black voters have power, we all get better healthcare, better schools, more accountability. When conservatives silence that, they are setting up a system where they can overrule all of us. Justice Kagan, in one of the most extraordinary acts of protest you will ever see from a Supreme Court justice, read her dissent out loud from the bench. That never happens. She called this ruling what it is, the completed demolition of the Voting Rights Act. The numbers are brutal. Analysts are saying that up to 19 congressional seats could be seized by 2028. This would decimate the Congressional Black Caucus. Nearly half of majority black state legislative districts in the South could vanish. So this is not just a policy dispute, it is a power grab, and it is going to affect way more than just black and brown voters. Although, obviously, they are the ones hurt the most. Remember, step one is always sidelining black political power, because when black people show up, these people lose. So if they can sideline that, they can overrule all of us. That's how it works. That's always been the plan, and they're not even pretending it's not anymore. But I want to close with this. They have taken some tools, but they have not taken them all. There are lawsuits already in motion. More will come. We want to donate to the groups who are suing on our behalf. We need to use the 2026 elections to elect candidates who are committed to passing the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act at the first possible moment. And this is really important. We need to back candidates who support actual Supreme Court reform. I'm talking about term limits, a binding code of ethics, and maybe expanding the bench. This court is fundamentally broken, but remember, broken things can be fixed. Y'all, they are betting that we're going to get overwhelmed and give up. Don't give it to them. Grieve today, fight tomorrow. And finally, to any black or brown voter feeling devastated by today's ruling, I can't even imagine how you must feel, but I'm so fucking sorry. And I, for one, will not stop fighting until you get your freedom to vote back. You deserve so much better.
Now, wait a minute. I'm old enough to remember 2 weeks ago when Republicans came out against gerrymandering. At least that's what the media said. From the Washington Post editorial, the Texas gerrymander freakout. What's happening in the Lone Star State is not a threat to democracy. From August of 2025. And now, Virginia plunges America deeper into the gerrymandering abyss. The redistricting scheme was always a power grab by Democrats. Voters went along with it from April 2026. Jeff Bezos, is that where the Melania money went to? All the Melania money went to the editorial board? They couldn't even afford anybody to look up what their past stance on gerrymandering was less than a year ago? Well, sell some of the unsold stock. Ain't no reason why them gas stations should have all the Melania DVDs in that bin. Get some of them for yourself. This editorial board is down bad. Hey, y'all actually want to convince people that you are a distributor of legitimate information? Well, you can't be moving like this.
Wake the hell up.
From Laura Ingraham, Texas Governor Greg Abbott just locked in a major win for Texas and for America. Democrats cry unfair every time they lose ground, but voters know the truth. The GOP is delivering. And now, total travesty. Now, see, Laura Ingraham with Fox News. I said distributor of information, not masturbation. So no, that don't count. I am glad that she signed up for the Summer Jam screen, though. That's the most embarrassing thing I've seen from her since she was trying to do the Gritty. So it's been a bad couple weeks.
I say right foot creep on with that heat.
That was so dry. If you did that in the end zone, they'd take your touchdown off the board. That is nasty work. But not nearly as nasty as the crying from Republicans when Democrats keep that same energy. Because not sooner did I come and record my members video. Shout out to all the members out there and celebrating the great state of Virginia and the fact that I can't use my one Virginia jersey. Y'all know. No sooner than I recorded that video, I got a comment that a judge had struck it down. And I said, well, this isn't going to go anywhere good for MAGA.
You gonna learn today.
Tazewell judge says Virginia cannot certify redistricting referendum election results. A Tazewell judge has declared that Virginia can't certify the results of Tuesday's special election, during which voters approved a controversial proposal to redraw the state's congressional map due to several concerns about whether or not the effort is legal. According to court documents obtained by 8 News, Judge Jack Hurley ruled that Virginia Democrats' efforts to redraw the state's congressional map mid-decade were illegal on multiple counts. Notably, Hurley is the same judge who blocked this proposal not once but twice leading up to the referendum date. I got a question. So this judge blocked the proposal not once but twice, but they still did have a referendum? So he going for 3? Is that what he going for? Kick the ball out. Kick the ball. Wemby in the middle. Kick the ball out, Judge. You see how this going. Attorney General Jay Jones issued a statement saying he will be appealing Hurley's decision. The statement reads, "My office will immediately file an appeal in the Court of Appeals. As I said, Virginia voters have spoken and an activist judge should have no veto power over the people's vote. We look forward to defending the outcome of last night's election in court." Was that all he said? I'm just saying, you never know with Jay Jones. You never know with him. But I did note that he mentioned activist judge. They really are keeping that same energy. And to think, if they were just to dig in to really scratch the surface on unlocking electoral possibilities.
Yeah, boy. That's it.
That's right. Y'all been playing this game for a really long time, MAGA. And it ain't as much fun when the rabbits got the gun, is it? West Virginia, 28% Democratic, Arkansas, 34, Iowa, 43, Oklahoma, 32, Nebraska, 39, South Dakota, 34, North Dakota, 31, Wyoming, 26, Montana, 38, Utah, 38, Idaho, 30, and Alaska, 40% Democratic. All states with 0 Democratic seats. That's right. 0 seats. Like what y'all sold for CPAC. 0, no seats. Literally no seats. Like when TPUSA went to Georgia. No seats. No seats whatsoever. And y'all want to talk about representation. And one point that must be mentioned over and over and over again is the fact that just because MAGA constantly repeats that they are patriots and constantly throw up the Constitution doesn't necessarily make it true, because it's anything as un-American as lack of representation. And yet here we are.
Man, this some more bullshit.
That's not to mention the following states where the Democratic populace has minimal representation. And yet they cried about gerrymandering as if they didn't have a whole vote in order to outlaw it, and not a single one of you went along. Imagine that. So clearly the opposition is not about gerrymandering. Oh no, this is about something else entirely.
I said close them doors. Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors.
Shown Republicans, when Democrats do the same stuff they do. Ah, I get it. I get it. This is about the fact that you can't play head up. You got to engage in skullduggery because you know exactly how trash that platform is. Who y'all think y'all, the New England Patriots?
Come on now, dawg. Come on, man.
So let me get this straight. After a long-standing party line to protect the right to gerrymander, then oppose it when the Democrats do it and they're in the find out phase, all of a sudden they get a gift wrap gerrymander mandate from the Supreme Court. Now I wonder the level of integrity that the GOP will have about this, given their newfound distaste for gerrymandering.
Now at 6, a shakeup in Tallahassee. The Florida legislature today approved a new congressional map that aims to give Republicans 4 more seats and control of Congress in this year's midterm elections. The new map here, which was proposed by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, redraws districts with a majority of Black or Latino voters that tend to favor Democrats. It shrinks Democratic-leaning districts in Tampa, Orlando, and parts of South Florida. The Senate voted 21-17, with some Republicans voting with the Democrats.
I knew it. They can't help themselves. They can't help themselves. And keep in mind, this was done in Florida despite Republican opposition.
There was. So I said earlier that there were a number of Republicans. I count at least 4 Republicans who voted against it, defied the governor's will. Jen Bradley did it. She represents sort of North Florida. But there were 2 Republicans in Miami-Dade County that voted against this map, believing it to be unconstitutional: Alexis Calatayud and State Senator Ileana Garcia. I think that is very interesting. We're going to try to track them down because I really want to hear why they made the decision they did to go against the governor. I do know Alexis Calatayud is in a competitive race this year, and that could have played a factor, but same thing with Ileana Garcia.
Now here's an issue, GOP. I got to call you GOP. I can't call you MAGA no more because the MAGAs, half them done left y'all. And that's where I'm going with this. Because what do you do to reconstitute a district when you have record unpopularity? Not just the administration, but as a party. You know what I mean? How does that? Because we done already talked about how y'all like to AI generate influencers. Y'all gonna AI generate voters now too? Is that what y'all doing? DeSantis and Florida Republicans push to flip 4 U.S. House seats in what Democrats call a dummy-mander. The Republicans who control Florida's legislature on Tuesday will take up a new map proposed by Ron DeSantis to give the GOP an edge in 4 seats now held by Democrats, and what is likely the final maneuver in the coast-to-coast redistricting battle that has raged for months between the political parties. Within hours of its release, Democrats vowed legal action. Redistricting experts warned of overreach that could end up backfiring on Republicans if a blue wave washes over November's midterm elections. Oh, did somebody say backfire? Oh yeah, that's right. Like this whole gerrymandering war has gone since y'all started it. And now all of a sudden, in the position you find yourselves in right now, that's supposed to stop.
You've seen the trend, Virginia jumping into redistricting, maybe Florida as well, very soon. The trend really all began with Texas 10 months ago, redrawing state lines to favor Republicans, a very vocal demand of President Trump. Roughly 1 year later, there are some serious concerns among Republicans that those new lines in Texas might not work out like the president intended.
I mean, why would they? Nothing else has worked out like the president intended, now has it? Welcome to GOP Backfire.
Talk about one of your all-time backfires, potentially, because just take a look here. The chance that the GOP holds onto the House, you go back to the day that Texas redistricted, according to the Cowsher prediction market, it was a 33% chance. You come over to this side of the screen, well, that is way down. Hello, down we go. We're talking about just a 14% chance now that the GOP, in fact, holds onto the House of Representatives. So despite starting the fire back in Texas all those months ago, it feels so long ago because the Republican chances of holding onto the House have absolutely declined. Down we go into the water.
We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world been turning. Oh, that's not right. MAGA started the fire. It was always burning since his wig's been turning.
Look, it's not unusual when the Republicans are in power and then the midterm comes. We've seen this with Democrats, Republicans throughout the history. But how much has the national environment moved toward them?
Yeah, okay. So, you know, at the end of the day, a rising tide lifts all boats if you're the case of a Democratic Party, right? And what we've seen is a massive shift on the national level. You can see it in the generic congressional ballot. Just take a look here. I mean, this just tells the story, right? Back when the day that Texas redistricted, Democrats held a lead on the generic ballot, but it was just 3 points. Since that time, that lead has doubled. It is doubled to 6 points. I don't care how much you redistrict. If you have a 6-point national environment in your favor, if you're the Democrats, Republicans can only redistrict so many seats. And at this point, they're actually behind when it comes to redistricting. Democrats have actually gained more seats.
One more time for those in the back.
And at this point, they're actually behind when it comes to redistricting.
So let me get this straight, MAGA. Let me get this straight. Y'all decided to go into a gerrymandering war that the Democrats hadn't even entered, knowing they had more ammunition. Who was advising y'all? The same people from Iran? Huh?
So not only are you seeing that the redistricting has moved against the Republican Party, the national environment has moved against them as well. You got a 6-point lead if you're the Democrats. This is the type of thing you say, yes, 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 we're getting that majority back. And that's why one of the reasons why their chances have gone way, way up and the Republican chances have gone way, way down.
What about on the individual level, individual seats?
Yeah, okay, so you take a look at the national environment here, right? But what about seat-by-seat analyses like those that are done by Inside Elections or the Cook Political Report? You can see it here. Okay, party edge and House seat pickup chances. You know, the day that Texas redistricted, look at that, Republicans actually had an edge in terms of the potential seat pickup opportunities. That is the toss-up seats or those that were leaning in their direction. They had a lead of 8. But look at where we are today. Democrats actually hold the lead. They have a net pickup opportunity of 12 seats. That's a 20-seat shift, a net shift in their direction. That is partially because of the redistricting. It is partially because of the national environment. But the bottom line is this. If Donald Trump and the Republican Party thought that they could tilt the midterms and their elections because of the Texas redistricting, they were sorely, sorely mistaken.
How in the world you blow a lead that big, MAGA? What y'all, the Knicks?
It is interesting, though, because now there's a battle in Virginia over the redistricting that the voters approved. A judge has halted that for now, so we will have to be watching this.
We will see, but I will say that if 4 seats is what ultimately determines the House of Representatives, then Democrats have definitely wasted a big opportunity. At this point, I think that the majority would be able to withstand that.
That judge gonna cry in the car. Out here looking silly as Joe Brown.
She started playing mama to you, and you started acting like a little girl in here, throwing a tantrum, and you're living off of the woman instead of living off of yourself. You're a damn fool. Now, I know that. But wait, there's more.
We have some big news right now. Following the Supreme Court's decision gutting the Voting Rights Act, Democrats say, you know what? It's time to fight back. Some Democrats are now calling for a complete redistricting effort in California to make it a completely blue state, a 52-0 map. Others are saying, you know what, let's do Illinois too. A 17-0 map where Democrats just completely sweep these states. They say if Republicans want to eliminate black majority districts across the South in states like Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, then we're just going to do it worse. We're going to take away all of your seats. Doesn't matter whether or not you have a moderate Republican or a Tea Party Republican, we're going to take them all away. California, we're going to take all 52 seats. In Illinois, we're going to take all 17. Kathy Hochul in New York already came out and said she's going to look at the way New York does redistricting. It's a fight that Republicans won't win.
And Trump, you should know all about stuff backfiring. That's been happening to you forever. Didn't you notice how when you spoke up on those sassy walking videos, they just exploded? What made you think that wasn't going to happen? You didn't go to school, did you?
I don't think so.
The fake news media has begun sharing sassy images of me walking in high heels. Absolutely shameful. The Democrats are behind this. They have nothing better to do but be obsessed with me. Do they not know I have closed a massive deal with Iran, a major win, and the greatest the country has seen? You call it sassy? You call it sassy? I would be careful with that. They have nothing. They have nothing better to do. Ain't you the one that be posting all the memes and what? Y'all don't think. Y'all just say stuff. Well, guess what? It backfired. In fact, they even got a thick one. They even got a thick one now. That's the most accurate. That one is the most accurate. So the AI is getting better. Yeah, the AI is getting better. No, not like you, Trump. Not like you, Trump. No, you getting worse. You still out here with the low IQ. Like that hasn't become totally laughable.
It's this. It's not my salesmanship.
It's what?
This. You know what that is? It's the brain power.
How can the Democrats not like how the U.S. Supreme Court votes? The Democrat justices stick together like glue, never failing to wander from the warped and perverse policies, ideas, and cases put before them. They always vote as a group or block, even that new low IQ person that somehow found her way to the bench, Sleepy Joe. There you go. There you go with the Sleepy Joe. Honestly, have y'all disconnected him from the internet? Is everything just from sycophants and meme makers? You fell asleep in your meeting and still with the low IQ? We've heard you speak for a decade.
So the Atlantic Ocean magazine, which I think of all our oceans, we've got, I don't know how many, does anybody even know how many oceans there are? There's got to be like, I don't know, 10, 12 oceans. We got tremendous oceans in terms of water. And the Atlantic Ocean magazine, I've always said, probably the worst of all the body of water magazines and newspapers. You know, the Pacific is a great magazine. If you ever read the Pacific, they're very fair. They're very fair to me. They actually try to do their research. Okay, but the Atlantic magazine is a disgrace, as you know, from when they did that horrible story about the Signal chat, where they revealed very sensitive information just because they were added to the chat. The editor-in-chief, Goldberg, he's not a good guy. He was a big guy. Remember when he was good? Remember when Goldberg, he was a wrestler? Remember having that WWF Hall of Fame, okay? I don't call it WWE because when Vince McMahon caved to the animal people, the World Wildlife Foundation or something, when he caved to those pandas and the elephants, I thought, this guy's gone weak. Might have even gone woke. I would have fought like hell to keep WWF, but now he calls himself WWE, but I don't respect those pronouns. But Goldberg used to be a big, strong guy. I mean, this guy was one of the strongest, and all of a sudden he gets a job writing, and I said, what the hell, he's not getting to the gym anymore? And now he does Signal chats with Pete Hegseth. It's a horrible thing that he's done to the world. But now his nasty magazine, The Atlantic Ocean, has done a hit piece on my great FBI director, Cash Me Outside. How about that, Patel? Sometimes you call him his name is actually Cash App, which I was like, that's impressive. Apparently, they didn't even have Cash App before they named him Cash App, and now he's Cash App. But he's a great guy, very talented, very enthusiastic, and they're accusing him of being basically a drunk. And you should have seen how mad, oh boy, when Pete Hegseth found out there was another drunk in my great administration. Yeah, he prayed to Jesus Christ to murder Cash Patel in his sleep in Jesus' name, and then he did some Pulp Fiction quotes. But I'm telling you right now, Cash Patel is not drunk. His eyes are crossed, not because of drinking, but because he's just a funny-looking guy, okay? He's like a little brown hobbit. And it's actually his girlfriend, who's, by the way, very attractive woman. Maybe too attractive for him, especially for the sort of white-brown combo. But she drinks a lot, because I once said to her, what's it like having sex with Cash Patel? And she puked on the spot, and I said, she must be drinking a lot, so that's too bad.
That was well done. That was well done, but that's actually better than what the actual would sound like. That's actually much better. Y'all see that supercut of him talking about snakes?
28,000 people die a year from a snake bite, a certain snake. It's a viper, right? It's said to be the most poisonous snake in the world. It's so powerful, this snake. It's said to be the most poisonous. That, the black mamba, the brown mamba, and the viper from Peru. You do not want to play games, okay? And this vicious snake, and it is vicious. Teeth are like this, those fangs. These are not fangs you want, sucking on your arm, right? And the power is incredible of animals.
I mean, really, I don't know what to tell you. Hey, Cash, you better hope he don't get involved in that. He gonna reveal everything. But then again, you could do bad all by yourself. Speaking of backfiring.
Oh boy. Here we go.
FBI Director Cash Patel disclosed in a 2005 letter that he'd been arrested for public urination. He also described a public intoxication arrest in 2001. These details come as Patel faces scrutiny over alcohol use. You decided to go that hard at the Atlantic. And now look. We're talking about back to 2001. That is 25 years of potential blackmail liability that we're now aware of because you decided to go that hard at the Atlantic. I tell you, it's all bad. It's really all bad. Huh? And they said it was errors and typos in your lawsuit?
I know words. I have the best words. But there's no better word than stupid.
Cash Patel, did you go to one of them lawsuits that be advertising during the soap operas? Is that what you went to? You was watching Maury and you got a good idea to sue? Is that what happened? Hey, was your attorney, when you walked in, was he wearing gym shoes with a suit? You can't never trust them. Now you got typos and head of the FBI. I swear. I swear. I can't put nothing past y'all. One thing I can tell you is you put no thought into how things are going to look in the light of day. Trump, was this you? Bruce Springsteen prior to plastic surgery. What happened to Bruce Springsteen? Why would a person like Trump, who's physically and mentally deteriorating in plain view of the public, post childish insults focused on personal appearances? It isn't as if there aren't plenty of photos of Springsteen available to refute this. Disclosure, I saw Springsteen close up a few months ago at the New York Public Library fundraiser, at which he performed pro bono wonderfully. He looked nothing like this silly AI parody. So you decided to post a doctored AI version of somebody who's before the public on a regular basis when you are literally rotting while alive. That felt like a good idea.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
You in Crypt Keeper Stage 2 talking about how somebody looked. Do you believe those AI videos of yourself? You do, don't you? You do. You have to be posting about the way somebody look. Brother, It's not about his looks. It's about his badass message. The America I've written about for 50 years is in the hands of a corrupt, treasonous administration. We are here in celebration and defense of our American ideals, democracy, our Constitution, and our sacred American promise. The America I love, the America that's been a beacon of hope and liberty around the world, is currently in the hands of a corrupt, incompetent, racist, reckless, and treasonous administration. Tonight, we ask all of you to join with us in choosing hope over fear, democracy over authoritarianism, the rule of law over lawlessness, ethics over unbridled corruption, resistance over complacency, truth over lies, unity over division, and peace over war. Bruce Springsteen. I would add awake versus sleep, alive versus dead. Yeah, you can go a ton of places with that. I can't imagine anything worse than Donald Trump talking about the way somebody looks.
And for some reason, there's a lot of people that are really afraid of this now-headed black who just has a lot to say, but not really a lot to offer. So I'm not afraid of Candace Owens, and I'm happy to match her energy. I'm happy to wrestle in the mud with that and, you know, roll around and hurl insults back and forth with her if that's what she wants to do. I'm not afraid of Candace Owens. There's really honestly nothing that this woman can do to me. There's nothing that Candace Owens can say about me that's going to harm me. Candace Owens is a liar, okay?
Hey, send that to Candace. Tell her Larry out the cage. Yeah. Hey, she asked for it. These are the people she surrounded herself with, so she asked for that. There's always a new entry for the hardest thing to explain to my children and grandchildren. And Laura Loomer talking about the way somebody looks. That's got to be this whole era of time. It's got to be. Huh? Oh, the Pistons. Oh, you know, because Pistons, like backfiring. Like this whole video is about backfiring, so I went to Pistons. Y'all not ready for my Virginia joint yet. Shout out to the Hokies. I'm not getting canceled over no jersey.